The call came at 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. Unknown number. I almost ignored it and let it ring out. I stared at the screen for a second before finally swiping to answer. "Is this Nathan Cross?" "Yeah, who's this?" The voice on the other end hesitated for a moment before speaking again. "You don't know me, but I think you should know your wife's car is parked at the Motel 6 on Route 9, room 14. It's been there since noon." My stomach instantly dropped like I had just missed a step on a staircase. The words didn't even feel real at first. "Who is—" Click. The line went dead before I could finish. I sat there in my work truck staring down at my phone, my hands beginning to shake slightly against the steering wheel. The Motel 6 on Route 9 was only about 20 minutes from our house. I knew the place. Everyone in Cedar Rapids knew the place. Cheap rooms, thin walls, and the kind of motel people didn't stay in unless they wanted privacy or anonymity. I could have called Melissa right then. I could have driven home and pretended the call never happened. I could have convinced myself it was some kind of mistake or prank. Instead, I did something different. I called the motel. "Yeah, I need to book a room. You got anything available?" The clerk sounded bored, like he'd answered that question 100 times already that day. "We have room 15 open," the clerk said. "Perfect. I'll take it." After I hung up, I sat there for another minute, letting the quiet settle in around me. My heart was beating fast, but my mind felt strangely clear, like numbers lining up neatly in a spreadsheet. Then I started the truck and pulled out of the parking lot. On the way to the motel, I made one more stop. I pulled into Domino's just off Route 9 and walked inside. The smell of hot dough and garlic hit me as soon as I opened the door. I stepped up to the counter and ordered 2 large pizzas, breadsticks, and a 2-liter of Coke. The kid behind the counter looked at me like he was trying to figure something out. "You having a party?" he asked casually while ringing up the order. "Something like that," I said with a small shrug. Not exactly a lie. 20 minutes later, I was sitting inside room 15 of the Motel 6. The room looked exactly like every cheap motel room you've ever seen. Beige walls, faded carpet, a buzzing air conditioner in the window, and a queen bed with stiff white sheets. The pizza boxes were open on the bed beside me, steam still rising slightly from the slices. I hadn't touched any of it. My ear was pressed against the wall that connected my room to room 14. The wall felt thin, cheap, almost hollow. For a few seconds, I heard nothing but the faint hum of the air conditioner and the sound of traffic passing on Route 9 outside. Then it happened. I heard it clearly. Her laugh. Melissa's laugh. The same laugh she used to give me when we first started dating. The one that used to make her tilt her head back slightly and breathe out through her nose like she couldn't hold it in. Hearing it through that wall felt like someone had reached inside my chest and squeezed my heart. A few seconds later, I heard a man's voice respond. Calm, relaxed, comfortable. "We should do this more often." The words came through the drywall like they were traveling through a cheap speaker. I leaned back slowly from the wall and reached into my pocket. I pulled out my phone, opened the camera, and held it up while a small smile formed on my face. Because what they didn't know was that this moment wasn't some sudden emotional reaction. It wasn't an accident or a coincidence. I had been preparing for this exact moment for 3 months. Every piece of it had been building toward this afternoon. And the pizza sitting on the bed behind me? That was just the beginning. If you want to know what happens when a boring accountant stops playing defense and starts playing chess, hit subscribe, because what I heard through that wall changed everything. My name is Nathan Cross. I'm 39 years old and I live in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I'm an accountant, but not the exciting kind that works for hedge funds or high-profile celebrities. I'm the ordinary kind, the kind who handles small business taxes, quarterly reports, expense reconciliation, and all the tedious financial details most people don't want to deal with. My work days are quiet and predictable. Numbers, receipts, spreadsheets, and phone calls from nervous business owners asking if they're about to get audited. I wear khakis and polo shirts almost every day. My wardrobe is about as exciting as my profession. I drive a 2015 Toyota Camry that's paid off and meticulously maintained. Every morning before work, I pack my lunch in a small blue cooler. Turkey sandwich, apple, string cheese,
Sometimes a granola bar if I'm feeling adventurous. Routine doesn't bother me. In fact, I like routine. Numbers follow patterns, and patterns make the world easier to understand. My wife Melissa is the complete opposite of me. She's a real estate agent. High energy, always talking, always moving, always on her phone. One minute she's showing a house, the next she's meeting clients for coffee, then she's rushing across town to another listing. Her days are unpredictable and busy, filled with open houses, negotiations, and endless conversations. We've been married for 11 years. No kids. We tried for a while, went through the appointments and the hopeful months and the quiet disappointments when things didn't work out. Eventually, we just stopped bringing it up. The topic slowly faded out of our conversations like a song being turned down until it disappeared.
From the outside, we look like a perfectly normal couple. The kind of couple who shows up to neighborhood barbecues carrying a bowl of pasta salad. The kind who smiles politely for photos and stands next to each other during holiday parties. But I'm an accountant. I notice patterns most people overlook. And over the past 6 months, Melissa's patterns had started to shift in ways that didn't add up. At first, the changes were small enough that I could ignore them. A few new outfits here and there. But it wasn't just 1 or 2 pieces of clothing. It was like an entire wardrobe refresh happened overnight. Dresses I had never seen before. High heels that somehow never made it into the closet and instead stayed in the back seat of her car. When I asked about it, she shrugged it off. Client meetings, she'd say. I need to look professional. Real estate is competitive. Appearance matters. Then came the gym membership. Melissa had never been much of a gym person during the entire time I'd known her. Suddenly, she was going 5 times a week. New workout clothes, new sneakers, protein shakes in the refrigerator. I need to take care of myself. Feel good, you know? She told me one evening. I nodded because that sounded reasonable enough, but I also noticed something else. The gym closed at 9 p.m., yet she wasn't getting home until 10:30 most nights. Then there were the phone habits. Her phone was always face down on the table now. Always. Text messages would come in that made her smile in a way I hadn't seen in years. Sometimes she'd even bite her lip slightly while reading them. If the phone rang, she'd pick it up and walk into another room before answering, door closed, voice lowered. Just work stuff, she'd say later. Boring real estate drama. But real estate agents don't usually giggle during boring drama. I'm not the type of person who yells or throws accusations around. Confrontation isn't really my style. I don't break things or storm out of rooms. I'm an accountant. When something looks wrong, I gather information. I collect data until the picture becomes clear. So that's exactly what I did. I started paying attention, really paying attention. I noticed she was buying gas more frequently than usual. Her car's mileage kept climbing, even though she didn't seem to be showing more houses according to the calendar she kept synced to our shared Google account. I noticed credit card charges popping up from restaurants on the other side of town, coffee shops I had never heard of, and once even a charge from a hotel bar in Des Moines. I noticed things in the laundry, receipts she forgot to empty from her pockets, the faint smell of a cologne that definitely wasn't mine. And then I noticed the pattern. Every Tuesday and Thursday, like clockwork, she had a 2 p.m. showing that supposedly lasted until 5. But when I cross-referenced those dates with the MLS listing database, there were no showings scheduled, none at all. I didn't confront her yet. Instead, I did what accountants do best. I built a spreadsheet. Column A, date. Column B, time she left the house. Column C, time she returned. Column D, stated reason. Column E, actual mileage driven. Column F, credit card charges. Column G, notes. For 2 full months, I tracked everything quietly. The numbers told a story Melissa didn't realize I was reading. Every Tuesday and Thursday, she left around 1:30 p.m. She returned around 5:30 p.m. The trip averaged about 40 miles round trip, and almost every time there was a charge at the same gas station located on Route 9. Route 9, the highway that runs directly past the Motel 6. I could have hired a private investigator, but investigators are expensive, and again, I'm an accountant. Spending money unnecessarily goes against my nature.
Instead, I called someone who owed me a favor. My friend Jake works for a cell phone company. We went to college together, and I helped him untangle a nasty tax situation the year before. Jake, I need to ask you something, and I need you to not ask questions. Okay, he said slowly. Is there a way to track a phone's location legally? There was a pause on the line. Nate, man, I just need to know if it's possible. He sighed heavily. If you have access to the iCloud account, you can see location history. Totally legal, shared account stuff. If you don't have the password, though, you're out of luck. Unless, he paused, does she have an iPad or laptop logged into the same account? Yeah, her iPad. She leaves it at home most days. Then you're good. Open Find My iPhone. It'll show you where the phone's been. That night, while Melissa was in the shower, I picked up her iPad from the kitchen counter. I opened the Find My iPhone app and selected her phone. A map appeared instantly with small dots marking everywhere her device had been that day. I zoomed in on the cluster from that afternoon. Motel 6, Route 9. She had stayed there for 3 hours. I scrolled back through the location history. Tuesday, Thursday, over and over. Same location, same motel, room 14. Yeah, I need 2 large pizzas, 1 pepperoni, 1 supreme, breadsticks, and a 2-liter Coke. The kid at the counter looked at the order, then at me. You having a party? Something like that, I said. 20 minutes later, I was walking into room 15 with pizza boxes stacked in my arms. I set them on the bed, opened 1 box. The smell filled the room. Then I pressed my ear against the wall. At first, I didn't hear anything. Then, faintly, voices. Her laugh, the one she used to give me. A man's voice, deep, confident. We should do this more often. I know, she said, but it's risky.
Nathan's been, watching me. He's an accountant, the man said, dismissive. He's not going to do anything. They both laughed. I pulled out my phone, opened the voice recorder app, hit record, and pressed the phone against the wall. For the next hour, I sat on that bed eating pizza, listening to my wife's affair play out in real time. They talked about me, about how boring I was, how predictable. He's a good guy, Melissa said, but God, he's just so safe. Safe is code for boring, the man said. Exactly. They talked about their future, about leaving their spouses, about starting over. I'll file for divorce, Melissa said. He won't fight it. He never fights anything. I took another bite of pizza, let the recorder run. At 5:15, I heard movement, voices getting closer to the door. I turned off the recorder, saved the file, backed it up to 3 different cloud accounts. Then I grabbed a slice of pizza and waited. I heard their door open, heard them say goodbye, heard her car start and drive away. I waited 10 minutes, then I walked out to my truck, got in, and drove home. When I pulled into the driveway, Melissa's car was already there. I walked inside. She was in the kitchen pouring a glass of wine. "Hey, babe," she said, smiling. "How was work?" "Productive. Really productive." That night, I didn't sleep. I sat at my desk, organizing files, photos, audio recordings, location data, credit card statements. I built a timeline, a narrative, a case. By 3 a.m., I had a folder with everything I needed. I labeled it Melissa Evidence. Then I opened my email and typed a message to the best divorce attorney in Cedar Rapids. Subject, consultation request, adultery case. I attached the folder, hit send, and finally, for the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. The attorney's name was Rebecca Marsh. She had a reputation for being ruthless. We met in her office 2 days later. She opened the folder, started reading. Her eyebrows went up. "Mr. Cross, this is thorough." "I'm an accountant," I said. "Thorough is what I do." She smiled. "Most clients come in with suspicions. You came in with a prosecution. So what do we do?" She leaned back. "Iowa is a no-fault state, which means adultery doesn't technically affect the divorce itself, but it absolutely affects alimony, asset division, and how a judge views credibility." "Good. There's one thing I need to ask," she said. "What do you want out of this?" I thought about that. "I want her to know I'm not as boring as she thinks." Rebecca smiled. "Then let's make this interesting." We filed the next week. Melissa was served at her office in front of her coworkers. She called me furious. "Nathan, what the hell?" You wanted a divorce," I said calmly. "I'm just making it official. You didn't have to serve me at work." "Actually, I did. It's where you spend most of your time. According to the process server, it was the most reliable location." Silence. "We need to talk," she said. "We will through our attorneys." I hung up. The first mediation session was tense. Melissa's attorney was a guy named Ron, mid-50s, slick suit, the kind of lawyer who thinks he can charm his way through anything. "Let's keep this civil," Ron said. "My client is willing to split assets 50-50, no alimony, clean break." Rebecca smiled. "That's generous, but we have some concerns, such as—" She slid a folder across the table. "Such as the fact that Mrs. Cross has been conducting an affair for the last 6 months, using marital funds to finance it." Ron's face tightened. "That's a serious accusation." "It's a documented fact," Rebecca said. She opened the folder. Pictures, audio recordings, location data, credit card charges, hotel charges, restaurant bills, gas station purchases. She pulled out a printed map. "This is a timeline of Mrs. Cross's movements over the last 3 months. Notice the pattern." Melissa's face went pale. Ron flipped through the documents, his jaw clenched. "This is extensive." "Mr. Cross is an accountant," Rebecca said. "He's very good at tracking expenses." Ron requested a recess. Rebecca agreed. In the hallway, Melissa cornered me. "You've been spying on me." "I've been paying attention. There's a difference. You recorded me." "I recorded a conversation in a room adjacent to mine. Perfectly legal." Her eyes filled with tears. "Nathan, I didn't mean for this to happen." "Yes, you did," I said calmly. "You meant for all of it. You just didn't mean to get caught. We can fix this." "No," I said, "we can't, because I don't want to." She stared at me like she was seeing me for the first time. "Who are you?" "I'm the boring accountant, the one you underestimated." The settlement came together quickly after that. Melissa kept her car, I kept mine. We split the savings 50-50. I kept the house because I'd been paying the mortgage with my income while she'd been spending hers on hotels. No alimony, clean break. She signed without a fight. 3 months later, I was sitting in my living room now, when my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "I'm the one who called you that day. I'm sorry I didn't say more. My name is David. My wife was cheating with the same guy. I saw your wife's car and thought you deserved to know." I stared at the message. Then I typed back, "Thank you, you did the right thing." A moment later, did it help? I looked around my quiet house, at the life I was rebuilding, at the peace I'd found in the silence. More than you know. I never found out who the guy in the BMW was. I didn't need to. Melissa moved to Des Moines, started over. I heard through mutual friends that it didn't work out with him. I stayed in Cedar Rapids, kept my job, kept my Camry, kept packing turkey sandwiches. But I also started doing things I'd been putting off. I joined a hiking group, took a trip to Colorado, started learning guitar.
I went on a few dates, nothing serious yet, but I'm not in a hurry. Because here's what I learned. Being boring isn't the same as being weak. Being quiet isn't the same as being blind. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is gather your data, build your case, and let the truth do the talking. 6 months after the divorce, I got another call. This time, I recognized the number. David. "Hey, Nathan, it's David, the guy who called you about the Motel 6. "Hey, man, what's up? I just wanted to say thanks. After I saw what you did, how you handled everything, it gave me the courage to do the same. I filed last month. It's almost final." "Good for you," I said. "How you holding up?" "Better than I thought. Turns out I'm stronger than I gave myself credit for." I smiled. "Yeah, turns out we both are." We talked for a while, swapped stories, made plans to grab a beer. When we hung up, I realized something. That phone call, the one that started all of this, wasn't just about catching my wife. It was about one man helping another find his spine. I still drive past that Motel 6 sometimes. Room 14, room 15. I don't feel angry when I see it. I don't feel sad. I feel grateful, because that's where I stopped being the man people underestimated. That's where I became the man who knew his worth. And that's where I learned the most important lesson of all. You don't need to be loud to be strong. You just need to know when to stop being silent. If this story hit home, comment, "I'm not boring, I'm strategic." If you've ever been underestimated, if you've ever gathered evidence instead of throwing punches, if you've ever let the truth do the talking, this one's for you. Hit subscribe for more stories about quiet strength and loud results. Because the best revenge isn't confrontation, it's documentation. And sometimes it starts with a phone call, a Motel 6, and a pizza you eat alone while your world falls apart. But you know what? That pizza tastes like freedom. And freedom tastes pretty damn good.